Dr. Nwosu, hold on to your thoughts. Mr. Onyeka, please comment on this if you can. We know that, it's an issue right now because you have you have this policy in your hand and you're trying to deal with it, and everything that Dr. Nwosu actually says points to the fact that the industry on the whole is uncomfortable with it. Yes. But despite this discomfort, and we know that in the medium to long term, it's supposed to be for the good of the economy. Yeah. And just like Dr. Nwosu actually pointed out, it's part of this revolution plan to revamp the industry. We have this policy already. And yes, it can work. But can you objectively, the licensed customs agents, objectively look at this policy in spite of what Dr. Nwosu has pointed out and painted? It's a very grimy picture. It's not something to be excited about. Yeah. But we have it as it is, and there's need for us to move forward. How can the licensed customs agents work with what you have right now and then channel your grievances? You've already channeled your grievances, but you have to work. Like he said, you've taken out loans, you have to put food on your table. You just have to work, you just have to make it work. What would the agents begin to do?
Thank you so much. The truth is this: we have no other nation than this country. So we have created avenue to talk to our members. Today, as I'm here, meetings are going here and there among our members to articulate on this and look at what stand we are going to take. We are talking to our members today. I had a lot of meetings with them, some of them, and then I told them, look, we don't have to jump out of our houses and offices. We need to go ahead and run this thing. And we need to talk to government to look at it holistically, so as they don't create more problems than we have. Obviously, even if you get to the port, most vehicles that are there can be cleared, because I met one man who said he's been there for more than 4 hours because he was unfounded, he didn't know how to go, he doesn't know how to, the person that gave him the work could not believe him. So I told him he had to simply send a mail to the person and then let the man talk to other people, so as he'll be able to understand what is on the ground. At most, bring out the product out of the ports. At least in that way, we now can talk, engage government in discussions and other means, and see how they can make it workable for us. Because if they do what they want to do now, or by this July, they start 30%, 35% levy on these vehicles, you find that it will throw a lot of people out of job.
Okay,
most people that leave their homes to go to work will be jobless, and you find that the crime that government is trying to stop would multiply.
No, hopefully it will not. But at the beginning of the program, I actually talked about how much it would cost to clear a vehicle, and I erroneously said 50%, it was 70%. It was increased from 20 to 70%. That's the duty and levies on imported cars. And is it correct to say that once upon a time, to clear a Toyota Camry 2002 model, for instance, would cost about 280,000, but now costs 840,000 to clear? Yeah. So thereabouts. So which means, at the end of the day, it's basically me who wants to get the car that actually bears the brunt of it, not really the agents or the freight forwarders, for that matter. So I should be the one contesting this policy as much as you. Because you see, at the end of the day, I pay more to bring in my car because of the increase in the import and the duties. So I'm not going to the street protesting. And it's not as if I'm comfortable with it either. But I also know that because of the greater good, and I keep saying this, because of the greater good, because we want to see economic growth, I have to ensure that I begin to support made in Nigerian cars. Agreed. So where I'm driving at is, do you think that this policy, you talked about the fact that it should have come in phases. Yes. Now, coming in phases, should it even have been started at all before coming in phases? Because you see, in spite of the fact that we're trying to have this industrial revolution plan, we actually haven't started, the companies haven't actually started production.
Good point. Excellent point. I read the interview of Alhaji Aminu Jalal, the Director General of the National Automotive Council, sometime last week in the Guardian newspaper. And he gave the justifications for this policy. And he did mention that there has been opposition because, on the one hand, the foreign companies that want to invest are laying it as a condition precedent that they want to see the implementation of this policy, and they need to see the policy legislated as a guarantee that when they invest millions of dollars to set up a plant, there will not be a reversal of policy by just a circular. It will need to get back to National Assembly. He equally mentioned that there has been opposition from the industry that why should this be sudden when capacity of the manufacturers and the assemblers has not been built enough. They haven't really started off. Yes, the first one is rolled out at the end of April. SUVs, Nissan, and presented to the president sometime last week. But that's just the tip of the iceberg. And what you are going to see, because it's a value chain, the agents are complaining they are the midstream. The final buyers, the people who import them, are at the bottom of the chain. Impact. Vehicles will start going to Cotonou, Niger Republic. Coming in through Cotonou, Jibia, Ilorin border. And there, you don't have manifests, unlike you have for sea cargo and air cargo. So you're going to see loss of revenue, equivalent to what happened with rice, equivalent to what happened with textile. You cannot crucify the Nigerian Customs Service. They try. The borders are porous. They do their best to man the place, but it's not their responsibility to wall off and whatever has to be done. So they'll do their best.
Well, Dr.
Then,
okay.
on the other hand, you find that the government in its prescription in the circular says the two things which are called to question. One, that the local assemblers can import their machinery free duty and zero VAT. They did not describe what machinery. Tomorrow they could import furniture, import fabric, whatever else, and say it's part of it. Designate the HS code as you designated the HS code for vehicles. Secondly, you say you want benchmarking as the basis now for bringing in vehicles. Customs should apply the benchmarking. But in 2003, the National Assembly legislated that, amended the Customs and Excise Management Act. There's another thing the agents are complaining, that transaction value is the custom procedure for valuing vehicles. If you're bringing in a 2007 Mercedes-Benz 230E, what is the factory price of that vehicle, ex-factory price in 2003 when it comes out? And then they check the speedometer reading. As long as it's above 3,000 kilometers, you now graduate from 10% to 50%, depending on how much mileage. Why would we now say you want to use benchmark? Benchmark is not a custom procedure anywhere in the world. So that's another thing that is going to be militating against those who are in the existing business of vehicle importation. Okay,
so Dr. Nwosu, let's take a quick break. Let's catch our breath. When we come back, we'll come back to that issue of all these challenges that you've listed as a member of the Freight Forwarders Group of the LCCI, and of course that Mr. Onyeka has also listed as well. Have these been articulated and documented and forwarded to the appropriate channels so that they begin to look at it and deliberate on it to bring out a positive policy for everybody concerned? We'll take a quick break and come back and continue this conversation. You're still watching Business Morning on Channels Television, and we're broadcasting live from Lagos, Nigeria. Today on the program, we're reviewing the new auto policy and revisiting some of the issues and challenges being faced by freight forwarders and, of course, licensed customs agents. We'll be right back.